Take your fun full throttle with a single touch. There are places to fly high, swing low, or make the old bell ring. Your targets are in sight. Better your game by playing ball of almost every variety. Need to catch your breath? There's a place for that too. Countless ways to play beyond the swing sets. Breck, we're more than a playground.
Hi gang, Clarence Buggs here, inviting you to come by Old School Barbecue, 10655 Coursey Boulevard, where we tape the show live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 11 o'clock. Come by and feast on news, sports, current events, love of God and country, and lots of common sense, along with some of the best barbecue anywhere on the planet. 10655 Coursey Boulevard, Old School Barbecue, home of the Clarence Buggs Show.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Getting a letter from the IRS that you owe back taxes can be scary, but it doesn't have to be. Call Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040 today. We'll help stop garnishments, levies, and seizures immediately. With over 35 years of dealing directly with the IRS, our team of local professionals will help you pay the least amount possible. So if you owe back taxes to the IRS, you need help. Call the tax professionals at Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040. Your go-to tax relief.
Hello and welcome as we start another week of the Roger Cador Show. Do not once again attempt to adjust the brightness, the contrast, the color settings on your smart TV. In case you hadn't figured out yet, Coach Cador not on set with us today, but the good news is we have the ever so more than capable co-host of Tigers Roar, Jonathan Poche, sitting in for the coach. How are you, young fella?
I'm doing great, CB. Happy to be here. Glad to get another chance to fill in for the coach.
There you go. Now we just have to work on getting you outside and getting a little more vitamin D so we can work on that low maintenance tan, as I like to call it. Obviously, we start today's show with the Super Bowl. It is arguably the only time I can remember in my lifetime where the Saints were not in the Super Bowl, but Louisianians were not just more interested, but felt like they had a vested interest in this.
Right, watching the game came around the third quarter. I looked at my wife and I was like, why do I care this much about this game? Why am I so anxious watching this game?
Find yourself hollering, who they?
Yeah, right. No, to support Joe Burrow and everything he did for Baton Rouge and all of Louisiana, bringing the national championship to the Tigers. And of course, you have some Saints flavor as well, playing for the Bengals and Vaughn Bell and Trey Hendrickson. Of course, that guy, Eli something.
Orange, grapefruit.
Right, whatever that guy's name is.
Pineapple. Apple. That guy.
Him and his mama. So it was entertaining, a very entertaining game. You're happy for Andrew Whitworth, who got the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. Then he follows it up with the Super Bowl, the first championship he has in 16 years. The guy's given so much back to the communities wherever he's been. He spent a long time in Cincinnati. And his speech for the Walter Payton Man of the Award was so great. I told a story about how he was back at a Boys and Girls Club when he was with the Bengals, and a young man he was spending some time with came up to him after a game for Detroit, and he was in the league, and wow, it really came full circle for Andrew Whitworth. What a class act! You hate to see Odell Beckham get hurt right there in the game with a non-contact injury. He goes down. Of course, Odell's also a free agent this summer, so he's gonna have a long road to come back. But happy he got his championship. The rhetoric around Odell is, he's a problem. He's a cancer in the locker room. You're not going to win with Odell, but happy he got it done. You saw on his face he was very emotional. Glad he got that monkey off his back.
You talk about things being ironic and coming full circle. Sometimes things are just, it seems, they're just meant to be. Andrew Whitworth spends 11 years laboring, toiling in the pit of mediocrity.
That's right, yeah.
Now, the good news is for Bengals fans, they now have Joe Burrow, Jamari Chase, Thaddeus Moss, the whole nine. But this guy, as things just happened to shake out, left the pit of mediocrity after spending 11 years with the Bengals, gets out and gets a ring. You can't make that kind of stuff up, Jonathan.
No, you're happy for the family. They've shown them a lot of support over the years. The offensive line is a very grueling position. There's a reason that there's been no other 40-year-old player to start at left tackle.
Right.
Of course, Andrew Whitworth was the first to do that this season. To put your body through hell, through war, year after year. He has young children, and they see their dad get beat up, and the injuries he's worked through, and make a move. You're stable in a community for so long in Cincinnati, and the Bengals fans loved Andrew Whitworth. You go to St. Louis and participate in the Rams, and they changed from St. Louis to L.A., so it's a whole new show again. You have to uproot your entire family. Kids have school. You got to buy a house. Your family. For it to pay off in the way it did, get Walter Payton Man of the Year, which is the biggest honor in the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
And then to win the Super Bowl the same year, outstanding. If he rides off to the sunset, absolutely first ballot Hall of Fame for Andrew Whitworth.
Next question. Speaking of riding off into the sunset, is this it for him? I mean, do you go out on top as a winner and just walk away?
I don't see a better way to go out. Your entire family's in the stands. You have a home Super Bowl. You win. You're 40 years old. You've been in the league for 16 years. There's not much left to accomplish. He's been All-Pro. He's been a Pro Bowler numerous times. Very respected around the league. What is left to prove? Go spend time with your kids. I mean, watch them grow up. You don't get the time back. Having young kids, I mean, all those people out there who have young kids know that time goes so fast and you can't get it back. So, in my opinion, I think you should ride off to the sunset. There's no better platform to do so, and go enjoy it, big boy.
This game had an ironic mix, and of course, it's that season in life where things start to transition. We just talked about 40-year-old starting on the offensive line of all places. But at the same time, you have the two youngest coaches in the history of the game matching wits in the Super Bowl. I mean, the storylines were just too many to cover.
Yeah, well, the league loves Sean McVay. I mean, you've seen him do the interviews, and he has the photographic memory or the eidetic memory, whatever it is, where you can recall plays from 6 years ago and give you exactly what the yardage was and what the play call was. He's a young guy, charismatic, a good-looking guy. He's just easy to push as like the new wave of head coaches. Look, the Bengals core is so young. I mean, they have a lot of players that aren't even 26 years old yet. Of course, you have Jamar Chase after his first season, Joe Burrow after his first full season. Young coach, young nucleus, and a lot of room in salary cap. So the Bengals, they're going to be around for a while. They set up something pretty nice. And it just goes to show you, if you get that one piece, and the quarterback's a big piece, but if you get that one piece and it works, your franchise can elevate very quickly.
Speaking of Jamar Chase, the guy showed his Rookie of the Year skills. That one catch, man, was unreal.
Look, the referees were letting the players do their thing for the most part in the first 58 minutes of that game.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that later.
But Jamar Chase, look, it was grown man football out there. You have Jalen Ramsey across the field from me. He's one of the best, if not the best corner in the game. So the long catch, one-handed grab was amazing, outstanding. One of the best catches in Super Bowl, recent memory at least. NFL Twitter lit up as soon as Jamar Chase made the catch. He's an easy guy to root for. Such a high ceiling for that young man. He's going to just get better every season when he really learns how to be a pro and work the little things every game. And I don't remember a wide receiver coming to a program at that young of an age and really just skyrocket. Look, Justin Jefferson had an outstanding season last year for the Vikings, but you could argue Jamar Chase is one of the top 3 receivers in the league this year.
Easily.
And when he has his boy in Joe Burrow, and I read this story, which is really great, that when the Bengals drafted Jamar Chase, he went to Joe Burrow's neighborhood, knocked on door to door. He wanted to live next door to Joe Burrow. That bond is going to be something really special for a long time to come.
What does your gut tell you? Were more Louisianians, football fans, pulling for the Bengals or the Rams?
Well, obviously everybody was pulling for Andrew Whitworth, and Odell Beckham's still a beloved character around Baton Rouge and Louisiana. But in my opinion, it's not even close. Everyone was cheering for the Bengals. It was Sioux Day. I went to a Super Bowl party with a bunch of my friends, and we even made shirts that said "Do it for Harambe" because that was like the rally cry for the Bengals.
Right.
In my opinion, not only for Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Tyler Shelvin, Thaddeus Moss, Von Bell, Trey Hendrickson, but there was something just special about cheering for the underdog. You know, Bengals have never had a championship. The last time they played one was 30 years ago.
Right.
Joe Burrow turns the franchise around, and not to mention, the Rams were in the Super Bowl for the second time in a number of years, 5 years, 4 years, because of that no call that happened against the Saints. So you could not pay me to root for the Rams. Now, I was really cheering for Whitworth to do well and Odell to do his thing. But yeah, I could never cheer for the Rams. I know a lot of New Orleans Saints fans feel the same way. Right. You couldn't pay me to do it.
When you look at both teams, one obviously was expected to be a contender.
Right.
The other was nowhere in anybody's conversation, unless you're talking about somewhere down the road.
Yeah.
To get that far, lose the game.
Yeah.
What do you think the average Cincinnati Bengals fan is feeling and thinking today?
Well, it was a tough loss. I mean, dejected. If you watch some coverage of the game after the game, you know, everybody saw the 4th and 1 where Joe Burrow got sacked. He almost got it to his running back, and they're thinking, why couldn't he just dive for the catch? But CB, I don't know if you're aware, but there were some pictures that leaked on social media of that 4th and 1 play, and they show a wide open. Jalen Ramsey had fallen on the play, and Jamar Chase was at the 30, standing by himself. If Joe Burrow had a fraction of a time more, we would have had the ending that everybody wanted, Burrow to chase for the game winner. You're dejected, but if you're a Bengals fan out there, I'd point you to one area. Go watch the bowl game that Joe Burrow played against UCF in 2018 when a late hit, a cheap shot on Joe Burrow left him flatlined on the field.
Right.
Since that game, he had never lost a playoff game. He won the Heisman National Championship. He became Joe Shiesty, Joe Burr, whatever you want to call him, 1,000 nicknames.
Right.
The look he had on that field Super Bowl Sunday after the game was the same look he had at UCF. Wow. Joe Burrow will be back. I promise you. He's going to motivate him to no end. If you're a Cincinnati Bengals fan, you're in a great place. The loss is insurmountable. You're going to live with it for the rest of your life. You wanted to win that one. You had an opportunity to win at the very end, but there will be more opportunities for this young team. You're in a great spot.
I was hoping that we would have had the opportunity to witness history, to watch a guy in such a limited window, national championship, Heisman Trophy, Super Bowl champ. Some things, you know, I guess God says, you want fries with that too, bro?
Right.
I mean, you know, it is what it is. But I was really hoping, for the sake of those of us older people who have more on the backside than we do on the front side, not to mention all the young people that are getting into the game now, having something they could hold on to for the rest of their lives. But it just was not meant to be this time.
Yeah, well, bright side for the Bengals fans. I mean, if you look at both organizations in the Super Bowl, the Rams and the Bengals, the Rams really built that team to win now. You know, you add a Matthew Stafford, a Von Miller, and Odell Beckham in one season. I mean, that is win now mentality. You traded all of your future draft picks to win this season. So, I mean, happy for the organization. They got it done. But now moving forward, I mean, where do you go from here? There's so many free agents on that team. They are an older team, definitely compared to the Bengals. And, I mean, if you're the Bengals, you're sitting with a quarterback that brought you to the Super Bowl in the second year. You have a very young core. And you have a lot of room in the
salary cap
to do some moves in free agency. So if you're looking at where moving forward of these two franchises, I would pick the Bengals. Even though they just had a horrible loss in the Super Bowl, they're in a better spot today than the Rams are.
Easily. Jonathan Poche, co-host of your Tigers Roar, sitting in for the coach today on the Roger Cador Show. First break of the hour. We'll talk more right after this. Stay with us.
All right, Marty.
termites. Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Hey, Coach Roger Cador here. There's something about teamwork that brings the best out in any business. When I need a tow, I call Roadrunner Towing. Roadrunner's 4 generations strong and homegrown right here in Baton Rouge.
Thanks, Coach. There's no job too large or too small. Call Roadrunner for quick, reliable, exceptional service. We don't want an arm and a leg. We just want your toes. And remember, take time each day to be a blessing to someone. Thank you.
Looking to get some keys made, locks rekeyed, or a wide variety of new and used safe? Then look no further than the trusted choice of Alfred Safe and Lock. Conveniently located off of Government Street in Mid-City, Baton Rouge. Trust the expert locksmith at Alfred for all of your residential, commercial, and industrial lock and safe needs. Trusted by Baton Rouge and me, Roger Cador, to protect what is yours since 1946.
Some Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge. Some don't. The ones that do know BTR is all about being closer, more convenient, with non-stops and short hops to anywhere their business takes them. They also know not flying BTR means more traffic, longer lines, and wasted time. So if it's about going from driveway to runway with a lot less highway, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport. It's about time.
Caught spiders. Premier Pest Services.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Roger Cador Show. Jonathan Poche, your co-host of Tigers Roar, along with the always spicy Buddy Sanji, sitting in for the coach this week. The NFL desperately needed a good game, didn't they? I mean, particularly with the playoff games, as exciting as they've been, coming down to last possession or overtime, they really needed this to continue that, didn't they?
Yeah, I don't know if there's been a time in the last few years that the NFL has been hotter than it is right now. I mean, you look at 6 games that were decided by less than 7 points.
Right.
You figured this Super Bowl was going to be a good game, or you were at least hoping for it. I mean, a lot of years past, the Super Bowl has been a blowout game, and you can kind of turn it off at halftime. You don't have to really watch the end to see who wins, but this year has been different. I mean, such exciting football coming down to the wire. Emphasis on field goal kicking at the last minute, going to overtime. The overtime rules are going to obviously be re-examined this offseason because there was so much, hoopla about the Chiefs and the Bills game. It was an outstanding playoff run for the NFL. I know we're going to talk the halftime show, the Super Bowl later on in the show, but I thought they did a great job with that too. Really played to their demographic, their target demographic. In that Gen X and older millennials.
I was going to say, that is changing as all things. There's an old saying that was, an old song that was well before your time that says everything must change. Nothing remains the same. With the recent charges of racism in the league, you talked about the large African-American presence in pregame, halftime, of course, on the field, the whole 9. How much did that help the league's cause, do you think? And I understand, I'm asking a guy that's on the outside looking in.
Right.
But you're in that group that they are targeting now with the shift in demographics.
Yeah, certainly. I do think it was important, especially with all the, Coach Flores story going on in the NFL. It was important to get some black faces out there and be the main story. I think they did a really good job of getting some L.A. talent. I mean, it doesn't get bigger than Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg for that halftime show. Then you bring in Eminem and Mary J. Blige, 50 Cent. It's just, it was a great. Now, here's the thing about the NFL. And I don't want to get on a tangent, but they're very business savvy. They know exactly who they're playing to, and they know how to make the money. So they're going to go ahead and preach this. It takes all of us together forever, stand united, and we're going to get rid of all the arrests off the field. We're no longer that league. All the problems are in the past. But then you bring up guys, and I love the music. Look, the songs were hits.
That's right up your alley, dude.
But yeah, the artists that they choose, and everybody has a past, and it's tough to get anybody that's squeaky clean this year. But I do think they did a great job in selecting artists. And I believe, if I'm not wrong, artists for the Super Bowl now have to donate some of their own money into production of the halftime. I think I read that. I think it started
Things have gotten so outrageous now that you have to...
The Weeknd, I believe, did it last year, and I think that he gave close to $10 million of his own money to set up that crazy stage.
Wow.
And look, the NFL obviously has the money, but these artists also want to have like their own flair on the Super Bowl. So they're if they're gonna splurge a little bit to do something nice, then go ahead.
If no black head coaches are hired this year, does that put the NFL back to square one?
I don't know if it goes back to square one. Obviously, it's a problem. I mean, you don't have to be a savant to understand that there's way more black players than there are white players in the league, but there's way more white head coaches than there are black head coaches. Now, I don't see the forcing teams to hire coaches just because of a minority rule. I don't understand that, but I am 100% for equal opportunity. I believe there are a lot of very talented head coaches in the league right now, both black and white, that could one day be a very good head coach. It's crazy to think about, all the assistants in the league, both black and white, and there's so many opportunities for those guys, but there's only 32 head coaches. Out of the entire world, only 32 guys are going to be the head coach of a football team in the NFL this year. I don't know what the problem is in getting black head coaches, but I don't agree with the way they're going about reforming it.
How fine a line are we talking here when it comes to players, 3/4 of whom are guys of color?
Right.
And the argument, for lack of a better phrase, is always put the best person for the job on the field.
Right.
How thin is the line where individuals on one hand say, well, we want the best guy on the field for the job, but now you don't adhere to that same rule when it comes to head coaches because of skin color. How thin a line is the NFL going to have to walk here?
It's a tighter rope than I want to walk, CJ.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're watching it from afar, you're a fan of the game, you understand something is amiss.
Right.
When a former coach has to sue the NFL just to get an opportunity for other guys to get – look, Brian Flores completely understands he probably will not coach this year or moving forward.
Or maybe again.
Certainly not in a head coach at that level, right?
Yeah.
For him to come out, that took a lot of courage. You would figure Coach Flores would have got another opportunity somewhere down the line because of the experience, and he's a very accomplished and valuable quality coach, but something is not right. I just don't know how to go about changing it. I think that's really why the NFL is kind of stumbling back a little bit, because they don't know how to change it either.
No.
These owners, these 32 owners of a team, they're kind of like the Oz in the back behind the curtain, just pulling their little strings.
Pulling the strings.
They're going to make Roger Goodell dance just like how we want him to dance. And if he doesn't, he's out of here. We'll get another lawyer in here, no doubt.
Yeah.
They're going to get the guys that they want. Now, don't blame the Shield, the NFL, for being racist. It's really just a very small group of very rich people that are making these decisions.
Right.
And general managers have a little bit to say in head coaching hires, but guess who employs the general managers? I mean, it all goes back to the owners, and it's definitely like a good old boys club. It's been that way for as long as the NFL's been around.
With all of the focus in America on race these days, how much do you worry that with all the race talk in an entity that since its inception has only been about you want to get away from the everyday trials and tribulations. You want to get away from the politicians that are all doing things that you don't agree with. Yep. You want to get away from your nagging wife, from the problems at the job.
Yep.
Well, grab you a cold one and sit down in your favorite chair and come with us and put all of that aside and just enjoy some football. How worried are you that they are going to alienate on both the black and the white side of fandom if they don't fix this thing sometime soon?
You see, that there's always been like purists that just want football. You know, They don't want any other outside stuff, but the NFL is no longer football. It is
by their own doing or not?
No, it's
by injecting themselves into certain things.
It's absolutely by their own doing. They just brought in so much other stuff to go along with the game, and it's really now it's WWE. It's entertainment more than the football game. And you go back 2018 in the Rams and that no call, and I've never watched football the same since that day.
Yeah,
especially NFL football, but. Look, here's the thing. There's always going to be a new generation of fans. They're always going to indoctrinate new kids. If they lose the boomers, the grandparents out there, they're not really worried about.
No.
They've got their money. They've gotten their money from them. They've been addicted to it for years. They've supported their clubs. They buy the jerseys. Their kids go to birthday parties.
We need to sell some new jerseys.
Exactly. We need to sell a whole new batch of jerseys.
That old Martin Joe Namath jersey you got hanging in your closet. We need you to buy something new.
So I think they do a very good job of promoting themselves to a demographic that's going to keep on renewing and keep on indoctrinating younger and younger fans. And I don't see it going away. And look, the NFL has tried to shoot themselves in the foot multiple times over the past 4 or 5 years. But they're still making billions, CB.
Yeah.
They're raking it in.
And anybody that doubts the validity of what Jonathan just said, I ask you to consider this. Next weekend, for the first time in almost 25 years, I am not planning my whole Sunday around the start of the NASCAR season. For 25 years, I have been a God-fearing, flag-waving, NASCAR-loving, black conservative American. But since NASCAR decided to go woke, they've tuned me out. So I have no idea what I'm going to do Sunday. I mean, a quarter of a century now. Marty said, go fishing, bro. I'm fishing for something new for my Sundays now for NASCAR. And listen, I get it, as you alluded to. A 60-plus-year-old conservative black guy, of all the things they can list as primary or secondary demographics, I'd never make the list. I would never make the list of people that NASCAR is concerned about alienating. But at the end of the day, with the emotional investment, the financial investment, not to mention the time investment that I made in NASCAR all these years, I still love my God and my country more than anything else you can name, NASCAR included. Just saying. Just saying. We need to get this break out of the way. We'll come back and take a look at some of the highlights. The good news is, Louisiana fans, we couldn't lose. Either way it went. I mean, I know I would like to think the overwhelming majority of us were pulling for the Bengals because of Joe's direct connection to LSU and our state. But, you know, I've been wrong before in life. God knows I will be wrong again before he calls me home. We'll get this one out of the way, and we'll continue today's edition of the Roger Cador / Jonathan Poche Show, right where you've got it, here on the Pelican. Stay close.
Coach, I love that.
Getting a letter from the IRS that you owe back taxes can be scary, but it doesn't have to be. Call Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040 today. We'll help stop garnishments, levies, and seizures immediately. With over 35 years of dealing directly with the IRS, our team of local professionals will help you pay the least amount possible. So if you owe back taxes to the IRS, you need help. Call the tax professionals at Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040. Your go-to tax relief.
Hi, am Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with the Rocket Right Show.
We are two busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Smart Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge because BTR is so close and convenient. They're always one step ahead, rather than dead on their feet. So, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport.
Have a passion? We've got the place. Gear up for where the rubber meets the mud, or stir up memories of a lifetime. Reach new heights. Gravitate towards something out of this world. Even travel back in time. You might like a little drama in your life, or get in touch with your inner nature lover. Release some pent-up energy while you're at it. There's plenty to do beyond the swing sets. BRAC, we're more than a playground.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Roger Cador Show. No. Coach has not gone on a diet, been hiding indoors, wearing makeup. Jonathan Poche, co-host of your Tigers Roar, along with the always spicy Buddy Sanjay, filling in for the coach today. There's an old saying I have with a very dear friend, and she only really started getting into the intricacies of football, I don't know, maybe 5, 8, 10 years ago, maximum. But I would tell her during the course of watching games, the phrase was, and all I had to say was that. Didn't have to tell her why, just let her know this is who to watch. That's a bad man. It started with Tom Brady, because, and she's going to kill me when I say this, but that's right, you know I love you. She didn't like Tom Brady because of some things in his personal life, left a woman at the altar or whatever. And I said, dear, you can't base it on that. We're talking football.
Right.
He's a bad man, pure and simple. In this case, Cooper Kupp, that's a bad man, Jonathan.
Cooper Kupp is going to be drafted first overall in every fantasy league next year.
You think?
Across the board. And,
you think?
Yeah, for a guy to take over a game like that, Odell Beckham goes down. Robert Woods has already been out for the Rams.
So everybody knew.
Everybody.
They got to go to Cooper.
Tyler Higbee's out. They only had like one option that wasn't a practice squad player at some time in the year.
Yeah.
And that was Cooper Kupp. I thought that no-look pass for Matthew Stafford, I think we'll see a highlight, and that was unbelievable.
Yeah.
One of the best Super Bowl plays you'll ever see.
Yeah.
I mean, to freeze Von Bell, a safety in the zone, and literally throw a dot, like perfect pass with no look to Cooper Kupp. Look, when the game was on the line, you know, big-time players make big-time plays.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And when the game was on the line.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone in the stadium knew number 10 was getting the ball, and somehow Matt Stafford kept finding him. Despite double teams, despite linebackers chipping, I mean, no matter what, number 10 was going to touch the ball.
Yeah.
And it really all started on that 3rd and 2 when they had a little, I think it was a 4th down play, when they had the little end around.
Right.
When they gave it to your best player and let him get a couple yards to get a first down to keep the game going. Yeah, can't say enough for Cooper Kupp. Obviously, he gets the MVP. I heard today, CB, and I don't know if you know this, those that are allowed to vote on Super Bowl MVP, for the last foreseeable past, they've had to vote on the MVP before the 2-minute warning. Now, what if Joe Burrow throws a touchdown pass to Jamar Chase?
Then he's MVP.
And Cooper Kupp still gets the MVP. I mean, in this day and age, with all the technology and the cell phones and the iPads and everything else, how could you not just wait till the end of the game to cast your vote? I mean, at some point, that is going to bite somebody in the butt.
Right. Well, you talk about technology and how we've not arrived at a point yet where we do certain things. You would think we could get defensive holding down. But we'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah. We'll talk about that in a minute. We do have highlights, and depending on which team you were pulling for, you can classify it as highlights or lowlights. So we'll go ahead and roll that. Joe Burrow, as you would expect, said he was disappointed with his overall performance. You expect him to be that stand-up guy, don't you?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, he did have the touchdown, no interceptions, but he knows there was plays left to be made on the field. His team, especially in the second half, they got a short field a couple times in the third quarter and had to settle for a field goal or to punt the ball. Yeah. It's just not going to get it done against a team like the Rams.
And, of course, if ever there was an opportunity where malice intended or not, you could spread the blame around. Well, my offensive line didn't really, we had thought we had some schemes in to protect me. But he never went there.
Right.
Says a lot about who he is as a leader, doesn't it?
Especially when it would have been the easy road. I mean, the entire national media and all the fans out there are saying, like, this is what the Bengals have to do in the offseason to get better. Yep. You have to draft an offensive line. And there's been a lot of talk about the 70 sacks that the Bengals did give up this season, including the playoffs, and but how it was the worst offensive line to ever make it to the Super Bowl in Super Bowl history, Super Bowl era, I should say. They were one of the last two teams playing, CB. Yeah, they did give up some sacks, but Joe Mixon averaged close to 5 yards a carry in that Super Bowl, and Aaron Donald was really held in check until that last drive. So, yeah, there's clear things you can point to, but obviously Joe Burrow's not going to do that. He's the leader of the team. He's facing the franchise. He wants to blame, and he wants to praise when they do something well. So, to me, you don't spread the blame, CB. You blame one man,
right?
Eli Apple. That guy was toast. Yeah, that's who you blame. You blame Apple.
Yeah. There you go. I saw a funny write-up on that when he came out and trashed the food in New Orleans. There you go. We'll get to it in a second.
Yeah.
Where someone said, well, you can't really blame Eli for thinking there's no good food in Louisiana. Somebody actually gave him a bowl of the greatest gumbo ever made. And, of course, being Eli, he dropped it. So, there you go. 10 points in 22 seconds early in the third quarter. Put the Bengals on top. But that 4 points that they left on the field, getting the interception at your opponent's 30 and only coming away with 3 points, that 4 points you left on the field, and you lose by 3.
And that's usually how it works out, CB. I mean, it's tough to win games in the NFL. You gotta be pretty much perfect on all three facets, and just small miscues come back to haunt you. And you mentioned when the Bengals finally took the lead right here, it's 20-16. This is when I started kind of getting nervous. Like, we've seen the Bengals come back in game after game. They were the comeback kids, but to have that lead in the second half, you weren't sure how they were going to handle that success. And I mean, look, the Bengals got a ball. They got a turnover in the end zone, and then the ball's supposed to go out to the 25 for a touchback, but of course the Florida man, Hargraves, who played for the Gators, has to run on a field in a hoodie, and you get the 15-yard penalty. So now you're backed up. It's like, man, little things will kill you in the NFL, and the Bengals certainly got hurt by it this past Sunday.
That was, quote, a little thing, but in the grand scheme of things, it was huge. Because it limited your play calling to the point where that minus yardage really hurt. And it's one thing for it to be a little thing from guys that are actually playing on the field.
Correct.
But this guy, well, is what it is. A few plays back, we watched Evan McPherson tie Adam Vinatieri for the most consecutive successful kicks in the postseason at 14. Has this rookie for Cincinnati from the hated Florida Gators, has he managed to single-handedly make being a kicker sexy again?
Well, this is why you draft kickers, if you ask the Bengals. I mean, the guy was money, had a couple game winners in the playoffs, didn't miss one, as you said, in the playoffs. A young guy with a lot of confidence, CB. That game that they won in overtime against the Chiefs. He walked on the field saying, "Well, looks like we're playing next week."
Yeah.
He knew it, and I think that's what you look for in a kicker. That's what makes drafting a kicker in the 5th round worth it. A guy that you can absolutely depend on when the game is on the line.
But now, as a kicker, you better have that kind of mentality, do you not?
Oh, there's no doubt. If you're not right between the ears as a kicker, you have no chance.
Yep.
And we've seen it happen with the Saints year in and year out, chasing after a good kicker until we got Will Lutz down in New Orleans. But once you saw Will Lutz go down this season for the Saints, they went through a flurry of kickers, and that's usually how it goes in the NFL.
You mentioned it. I mentioned it. Fans mentioned it. The game itself might have been, quote, super. The officiating, far from it.
Yeah, we've just saw the defensive holding that was called on a 3rd and goal from the 8-yard line. Not saying the Bengals absolutely stop the Rams on that 4th and goal if it comes to that, but certainly like their chances more than ever to come back with under 2 minutes left in the game. You saw T. Higgins rip down Jalen Ramsey by the head and catch a touchdown pass the first play of the second half. And look, the referees really swallowed the whistle. 58 minutes left in that, for 58 minutes in that game, and then for the last 2 minutes, they just wanted to call everything. And it is almost impossible for a player in a game to have played the first 58 minutes one way. And everyone needs to change how they're playing completely because now they're going to call ticky-tack fouls. I don't think that call against Logan Wilson is a defensive holding on any day.
Ticky-tack at best.
Much less 3 minutes left in the Super Bowl on 3rd and goal. Like, you cannot let referees decide games like this and then expect people not to question if this is all rigged or not.
Can you fix this, or is this the, quote, human element that cannot be avoided?
I don't think they want to fix it, CB. I mean,
really,
you can absolutely control games with a key call, just like we saw in the Super Bowl. I mean, it happens all the time. I mean, you can control games, control outcomes. And now that betting is legal across the nation with the sports betting, I mean, how easy is it going to be to manipulate money lines and spreads? And to answer your question, I don't think they want to fix it, CB.
Right.
They could say they want to revisit rule changes or whatever in the offseason and nothing really gets changed. There's no excuse to miss a guy getting ripped down by his helmet. You are literally looking at him from 5 yards away.
Right.
I've heard the argument, okay, when teams get down to the red zone, then everything is more compressed. The referees have less distance to cover. They can kind of focus in. That's why the 3rd and goal was called on defensive holding. Like, if you want to give them any excuse possible to make a bad call in a crucial situation, that's fine. That's your prerogative. But I'm not going to let them off the hook that easy. Like I said, I've never watched football the same after that NFC Championship in 2018. And maybe I'm a little bit of a cynic with the referees these days. But, to have such a crucial call in such the biggest moment of the biggest game of your season, you're going to have a referee call a defensive holding on a linebacker that's trying to cover Cooper Kupp. Like, you have to give him a little leeway. If you don't, there's no chance. He has no chance.
And even the most ardent, as well as the least educated football fan, knows ticky-tack when they see it.
Right. And
major call,
And look, I'm fine. You want to call ticky-tack the entire game? Look, nobody's going to enjoy that game, but that's fine.
Right.
Keep
At
it
least
same.
you know.
That's like an umpire changing the strike zone from one inning to the next. Like, we have no idea what's going on. We cannot control what we have to do because you keep flip-flopping the playing ground. You keep moving the goalposts on us.
Yeah. Well, Major League Baseball starting this year, AAA, they're going to go with robot umpires using artificial intelligence.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah, that'd be right.
We shall see, said Ray Charles to Stevie Wonder. There you go. Final break of today's show. We'll come back and wrap up this week's edition of the Roger Cador Show. Stay close.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Looking to get some keys made, locks rekeyed, or a wide variety of new and used safe, then look no further than the trusted choice of Alfred Safe and Lock. Conveniently located off of Government Street in Mid-City, Baton Rouge. Trust the expert locksmith at Alfred for all of your residential, commercial, and industrial lock and safe needs. Trusted by Baton Rouge and me, Roger Cador, to protect what is yours since 1946. Hey, Coach Roger Cador here. There's something about teamwork that brings the best out in any business. When I need a tow, I call Roadrunner Towing. Roadrunner's 4 generations strong and homegrown right here in Baton Rouge.
Thanks, Coach. There's no job too large or too small. Call Roadrunner for quick, reliable, exceptional service. We don't want an arm and a leg, we just want your toes. And remember, take time each day to be a blessing to someone. Thank you.
Caught spiders? Premier Pest Services.
Welcome back to the final segment of today's edition of the Roger Cador Show, brought to you in part by the absolutely wonderful efforts of our newest sponsor, member of the sponsorship family, the great folks at Powerhouse Outdoors. 2323 Florida Boulevard in Denham, 25,000 square foot facility, and they've got all the toys for the big boys and big girls. Don't want to seem sexist here. Kawasaki, Suzuki, Can-Am, ATVs, motorcycles, new and used, side-by-sides, personal watercraft, Sea-Doo included as well. If they don't have it, they can get it, and if they can't get it, you probably don't need it anyway. Just kidding. Just kidding. They'll never turn down a customer. And as South Louisianians, you already know how we feel about service after the sale. I don't care how much you enjoy this new toy you have. When something needs maintenance, fixing, if you can't get that, then kind of just sours the whole experience. You'll never have that to worry about when you take the time to go see our friends at 2323 Florida Boulevard. Just be sure, let them know that you heard about them on the Roger Cador Show. Jonathan Poche, co-host of Your Tigers Roar, along with the spicy Buddy Sanji, filling in for Coach today. The LSU men's basketball team finally righting the ship a little bit. Got a 2-game winning streak going now. Texas A&M, Mississippi State, fallen victims to our Tigers.
Yeah, I thought the Mississippi State game was great for the Tigers. They actually got up in that game instead of trying to, come back from a big deficit that they've been trying to manufacture every week. But Xavier Pinson back in the lineup is huge for the Tigers. Having Darius Days back healthy too. Tari Eason is coming into his own, one of the most exciting players to watch in college basketball. He lives above the rim, plays great defense, can handle the ball. There was a lot being said about how he only goes to his right and he can only dribble with his right. And Tari Eason heard that too, so now he's really giving you a bevy of moves and working on his post game. Still has to shoot the ball a little bit better from outside, but look, if LSU can get some shooters and get that defense playing the where it was in the beginning of the season, they can go on a nice little run here to finish out this SEC schedule.
That was going to be the next question. Having watched, as you and the rest of the Tiger Nation have, that up and down roller coaster. You mentioned defense at one time. That was the hallmark of this team. Falling on, losing the 2 starting guards, and all of a sudden defense. And maybe it's just a simple case of, okay, we know we're missing these guys. We got to step up our game in other aspects while neglecting the basics. If Will Wade can get them refocused, along with the personnel being back, what kind of run do you think they can make?
I think they can make a 6 or a 7 seed in the big dance come March. Look, Coach Will Wade, he's been coaching these guys. I mean, he's been intense. He's been pulling his hair out at times, and it's always tough to get a group of 18, 19, 20-year-olds to all move in the same direction, especially in today's day and age when there's so many distractions.
Yep. And throw adversity and injuries in that mix too.
Exactly. And you hit a very hard stretch of your schedule when you hit the SEC. And you went 15-1 to start the season. You lose to Auburn. They're the best team in the country, so you don't feel that bad. But then you hit a little tough streak and you lose 6-7.
Yeah, that's more than a little tough streak, but you're being kind.
You bounce back. Look, Coach Will Wade said, getting Pinson back was going to really change the way we're playing, and so far he's been right.
Correct.
I mean, he hasn't been 100% yet in the game. I don't think he finally took off the leg brace against Mississippi State.
Right.
He looked a little quicker, but the pace Pinson plays the game at, both when he needs to speed it up and when he needs to slow it down. He understands basketball enough to get the guys around him to kind of buy in and all work as a group, and that has been what's missing for the Tigers.
Yeah. Over on the other side of the Maravich Assembly Center, we all anticipated that bringing in Kim Mulkey was going to be the bomb.
Yep.
But most of us, I think, most of y'all particularly, said to themselves, okay, got a living legend coming in. We've got facilities, but now realistically, and she said this in her opening press conference, it's going to take a little time.
Yep.
Well, now as we turn the corner in the SEC schedule, we look at the record, and this week in the AP Top 25, guess who's knocking on the top 10 at number 11? That's huge.
Now, Coach Mulkey is an absolute rock star, and if you haven't been able to, if you're living under a rock, you don't know this, but now every game she just brings so much energy, and the way she dresses and carries herself and supports her players in the interviews, and just, that group plays harder for Kim Mulkey than I've seen any program, baseball, football, men's basketball at LSU play for a coach. I mean, what a rock star. That team won 9 games last year, CB. I mean, to turn it all around so quickly and to expect so much from their players. And look, the players just meet the expectations every time. They understand what's expected of them. They believe in Kim Mulkey. They know she believes in them. That just gives them more and more confidence. They took on the #1 team in South Carolina a few weeks back, and Coach Mulkey said in that press conference, she was like, look, if we win, we haven't arrived yet.
Right.
We still have lofty goals for this team. We're not where we want to be. We can all absolutely get there, but if we win, we're not there yet. If we lose, it's not the end of the world. They did lose that game in South Carolina, but ever since then, CB, they have played outstanding basketball on both sides of the court.
What is the lesson, not athletically speaking, of how young people can respond to things if the person in charge, parents, let them know what's expected, what's required, and we're not going to settle for anything other than that?
Right. Coach Wade often says, no, you can coach them hard if you also love them hard. And that's really that old school way of thinking in coaches that you don't see that often in today's day and age, with everybody being the best, and you get a participation award if you come out and practice hard. I'll take you out for ice cream, even though you didn't do well, but you'll get them next time. Look, Coach Mulkey, Coach Wade, Coach Kelly. We'll see about Coach Jay Johnson, who starts later on this week. But those 3 coaches are absolutely cut from that old school jib where they will get in your face and they will let you know that you're messing up, because they know that the player understands, look, the coach is coming down on me right now, but it's not because he doesn't like me, because he doesn't think I'm good enough, or he expects the best of me, because we practice it each and every day. How you practice, how you play. You can coach them hard at practice. Don't be their buddy at practice and then try to get on them in the game. They're not responding to that.
They don't respond to that. No. The football world on the FBS level, FCS level, forgive me, got, depending on what side of the issue you reside on, some news that made a lot of people perk up. North Louisiana, in God's country as they refer to it there, rumored that they are this close, Grambling State University and new coach Hugh Jackson, to hiring Art Briles as their offensive coordinator. Good idea or too much baggage?
Yeah, certainly
coming along.
There's certainly a lot of baggage, CB. But look, Coach Browse is a fine offensive mind in football. I mean,
yeah,
you can't find too many guys that coach the offensive side of the ball better than Coach Browse. I mean, what he's able to do at Baylor for so many years. I mean, Baylor.
Right.
Okay, so I understand you wanting to bring the best available minds to your program. Coach Browse has an awful lot of baggage. I mean, there's players that were under him in the Baylor program that never got their opportunity because of that whole situation that wound up, and all the dirty laundry that got aired, and all the players that were alleged to have done things. And but there's guys that never got their chance.
Right.
Coach Browse had his chance under his watch. The program was doing not good things.
Right.
So, in my opinion, too much baggage. Like, brand new coach in a situation like Grambling, a team that's trying to come back and build back to what they were at one time. And like I said, I understand you want to get the best minds possible, but I wouldn't be touching that with a 15-foot pole.
Now, at the end of the day, one of the things that we absolutely love about America is that it's the land of second chance.
The comeback story. That's right.
Comeback story.
Yep.
Everybody loves a good comeback, good underdog.
Yeah.
How much consideration do you give that?
No, I completely understand your sentiment, and yeah, America does love a good comeback story. But let me ask you this: what happens when there is one alleged incident that happens at the Grand Prix?
Whether it's true or not?
Exactly. One alleged incident. What's going to happen?
Yeah.
Well, now it's a complete collapse of the whole thing.
Coach Prime, Jackson State, announcing last week that since the end of the season, he has been interviewed by 3 separate Power 5 conferences. But he's going to stay at Jackson State. Says, quote, talk to God, and he wants me to stay at Jackson State. Your response?
I'm just wondering how much God is going to charge him to change jobs. But Coach Prime is a hot name in coaching right now. What he's done at Jackson State has been outstanding. Both his sons are enrolled at Jackson State. So, look, he will move on to bigger and better things. But I like that he wants to stay and kind of see this through a little bit and kind of get the players he recruited. He wants to see through and see what they can accomplish. And I like that. I think his players really like that too, because Coach Prime was going to get looks from a lot of D1 Power 5 programs. So what is he doing at Jackson State so far?
Finally, and I have yet to be able to verify the numbers one way or another, but most reports say LSU is now tied with the University of Georgia for 21 straight Super Bowls where one of their former players was on the roster. Kind of solidifies the fact that SEC is the best there is.
And next year there'll be 22, CB. I mean, it's without a doubt SEC is the premier conference in college football. For LSU to have so much flavor across the board on both sides. You mentioned the LSU fans really couldn't lose because you had Whitworth and Odell, and you had Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. And that was a big storyline of why a lot of people around this region were watching that game. And not only for the Super Bowl, but you look at the Pro Bowl and the Skills Challenge, and Justin Jefferson wins the dodgeball game, and they were all across the week, and just great promo for LSU.
All right, you got 7 seconds. When can they catch Tigers Roar?
Wednesdays, 8 o'clock here on the Pelican. Also check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/Pelican Broadcasting.
I knew he could do it. Never doubted you, brother. Thank you, my friend, for sitting in for Roger Cador. I'm Clarence Buggs. On behalf of Marty and the crew in the truck, we look forward to seeing you next week with another edition of the Roger Cador Show. See you later.